Yo, what is going on YouTube? I am Germ here, and I'm sure most of you, some people even reached out to me on Twitter asking if this video was coming, so I'm sure most of you knew that it probably was. Today we are going to be talking about the Fnatic Pause Drama Part 2. This is now the second time in like the last month that Fnatic has been involved in some very, very juicy pause drama. We're seeing some of the very same conversations popping up again, but it seems like more and more people are getting on the other side. When I posted the last video of the G2 Fnatic pauses and said that Fnatic, not even just Fnatic was abusing the pauses, but just that the pause rule was so stupid and needed to be changed, regardless of the team situation, whatever. Again, not really blaming Fnatic, more blaming the stupid rules. So many people were against me. That's one of my most disliked videos, really, of 2021, probably. It still got more likes and dislikes, but there was so much hate. So many people calling me stupid, yada, yada, yada. But now we see more and more pro players, owners, analysts coming out actually on my side of things on Twitter. I just think it's pretty interesting. So that's what we're going to be talking about in this video today. Definitely drop a like if you guys do enjoy it. I would appreciate it so much. Subscribe to stay up to date on all my latest content. And consider checking out my Patreon, patreon.com/IamGerm, to find all kind of extra content, including bonus videos, my podcast, all that good stuff. With that being said, let's get right into this. So, for those of you that don't know, Fnatic and Misfits were playing a game. There was some crazy Rise, interactions, mechanics, whatever, that people didn't really understand. Apparently, there's a Rise mechanic in the Rise ult where if you are inside the Rise ult and you click to move out of it, you won't be teleported because the game tries to predict that you're not wanting to teleport. They're actually trying to get out of the Rise ult, and it won't teleport you. And this happened not once, but twice in the same Fnatic and Misfits game. Fnatic paused both times. They were really long pauses. They were really drawn out pauses. Misfits had like a 7,000 gold lead, and then after 2 rounds of pauses, they end up throwing the gold lead. They do end up winning the game, so it ended up ultimately not really mattering. It ended up being pretty irrelevant, but it did spark a ton of conversation. And man, if Fnatic would have won that game, there would have been so much more controversy. But still, I think there is a little bit of controversy and drama going on, just in terms of the fact of, was that tilting for Misfits? Is it just stupid in general? And now there's really so many people on both sides of this thing. But again, I'm starting to see more people on my side, and I just want to kind of explain my reasons. And now that I've seen this happen again, I feel even more strongly than I did before. Obviously I got all the dislikes, got all the hate. I don't care. It doesn't matter. The comments are all fine. People saying I'm so stupid. I've never played in pro. Pros know what they're doing. Pros know what they're talking about. Why listen to me when you could listen to Niski or whatever? I think it's stupid. Whatever. Think what you want. I don't care if you dislike the videos. If you want to, that's fine. It doesn't affect me one bit. Get your feelings out. But I still so strongly disagree with you guys. But we'll go through all that. So first we have this tweet coming from, I believe this is like the commissioner of the LEC, or the head of esports for the LEC. He says, to give everyone some context on the pause protocol, Fnatic are fully within their right to pause. The Rise ult interaction occurs rarely. Cries tweeted about having 500 games on Rise and not knowing about it, and it happened twice in the same game. Sucks, of course. The reason why they allow pauses within a fight is to prevent players from getting information they would otherwise not have access to before a potential chrono break, e.g. getting flanked or a champion hiding in a bush. I think that's actually a solid point, and I think that is one of the only points against waiting till after the fight is over to pause. I think any other point that I've heard so far makes absolutely no sense for in favor of pausing during team fights. This is the one that I do agree with, and I think is actually a fair point. I still don't think it outweighs the cost of doing so, but it is at least a point on that side. If you wanted to make the argument, this is the point you should be using. If you are not using this point, you are just misinformed, in my opinion. He says it is something they actually discussed with all the teams in the player council. Opinions were split among the teams. So again, people on the other side saying that, people who agree with me are stupid. There are pro players, there are pro teams absolutely on my side. And again, it seems like next offseason, this is a rule that could be voted on and changed, because it seems like more and more people are starting to understand my point of view. He said that, of course, they are going to monitor and evaluate this together with the LEC teams. He does admit that both sides have solid arguments, and it just kind of, prefers what you want one way or the other. But yeah, some people coming out and talking about this. Sam Matthews is the CEO of Fnatic. He said, your year is on the line and potentially one of the best chances in your career to make an impact. You've been training for a year. Something happens which is not what you expect. For years of playing the game, a potential game-changing bug. What do? You pause. Now, to me, this is not an argument against whether or not you should pause in the middle of fights or after the fights, because guess what? if you did have a game-changing bug that was going to ruin your whole season, the season that you've trained years and years and years for, the season that you put all the hours of practice into this year, if you waited till after the team fight and you really did have a bug that just ruined, your whole career, whatever dramatic line, BS line you want to come up with, you will get a chrono break. Things will get saved. If it was a bug, those things are in place. The game will still be brought back. You will get a fair ending. Now, instead, what you've chosen to do is you thought you saw a bug, and not thought you saw a bug once or twice or 3 times. Fnatic has now paused 4 times. I believe in the last month. I don't remember when the Fnatic G2 game was. I can't remember if it was a month ago or a little bit longer. They have paused a total of 4 times. And in those 4 total times, there has been a total of 0 bugs. That is just kind of showing, again, I'm not necessarily blaming Fnatic. If they think they saw bugs or whatever, and the rule is pause when you think you see a bug, that's fine. But it does show how stupid that the rule is. That Fnatic is getting pauses over and over again that are breaking the action, giving them time to talk behind the scenes. Kabe came out and did an interview and told us that, yeah, the players are allowed to talk during that downtime. You can talk about the game. You can talk about strategy. You can talk about planning. And also, just the fact that it just keeps happening and it's so dumb. It doesn't make any sense. And the fact that there has never been a bug that you can just keep kind of pausing. It breaks the action, and it's terrible for the viewer experience as well. You have these hype team fights breaking out. The momentum is building, the pressure, the tension, the suspense. And then you get a 20-minute pause in the middle of the game, and then there's not even a bug after all that. It really does make no sense to me. Sam Matthews said, it seriously pisses me off when team owners flame from the sideline, clearly afraid of us, back in your troll cave. I think this is really, really weird. People are saying that he's rent-free in his head. I completely agree. That's a very, very weird tweet. Carlos claps back with, holy fuck, you're delusional, Sam. For viewership reasons alone, I'm rooting for you guys to win so they can face you. If you would have been a player yourself, you'd know how it completely ruins the mental of the winning team when your opponent pauses mid-fight. And they asked, what about taking viewership reasons out? And he said, then fuck Fnatic, which I think is absolutely hilarious. Again, we do have some tweets from some of the players as well. Vander coming out and saying he doesn't want to sound salty, but pausing mid-fight should not be allowed anymore. You can get an overview of the situation, and both teams were allowed to talk about how exactly they wanted to play the fight after the pause. So again, it absolutely changes the outcome of the fight. Again, I think you are losing competitive integrity. You are losing the viewer experience. And at the end of the day, esports, gaming, all this stuff is supposed to be entertainment, and it's supposed to be a competitive scene. And again, I think you are losing both aspects there. And I don't understand. Yes, I get it. If a bug happens, you don't want to be screwed over by a bug, but just finish the fight, play the game out, get to a neutral state. And then again, if you were harmed by a bug, Riot will fix it. That will happen. There is 100%, sometimes people are like, oh, but sometimes chrono break doesn't work. Okay, there's a 95 to 99% chance that things will get fixed. And it's going to work out way better than ruining potential games, potential team fights over bugs that you think happen when they're not even bugs. And again, Fnatic paused twice for the same Rise Ultimate bug in the same game. The first time, if you thought it was a bug and it just, was a weird interaction, wasn't a bug, I forgive them a little bit more for that. But you paused about the second bug in the same game a second time, that one starts to get a little suspicious. That one starts to get a little where I don't really think you can argue in terms of Fnatic as much anymore. I think after they got their explanation of how the Rise Ultimate works and they do the same thing again, that is not a bug, and they know that's not a bug, and maybe they're not abusing it, but at least it's just exposing how dumb and stupid of a rule it is, and I really do believe that. Again, I'm not saying Fnatic is being malicious with this. I'm just saying that the rule is stupid. I don't blame Fnatic for acting within the rules, but I do blame the commissioner. I do blame the league. I do blame the LEC for just having a dumb rule in place. I hope this isn't something we see at Worlds. I hope this isn't something we see anymore in competitive League of Legends. Again, if there are bugs, that is what Chrono Break is for. You watch any other sport, you watch soccer, football, basketball, whatever. They all have replay systems, they all have reviews, they all have ways of undoing mistakes, because mistakes are going to happen. Refs, bugs, whatever. But it's never while the action is happening. In football, you don't have a replay as a guy's walking into the end zone. In basketball, you don't have a replay as a guy's shooting a three-pointer. You have it after the action. You have it in breaks of the action. Yes, sometimes, a crazy fight happens or a crazy basket or a touchdown happens. They have to bring it back and they have to, redo it because of a penalty or whatever happened. That sucks. But you don't just stop in the middle of the action to go to the review and then, bring it back in the middle of the action. Obviously, it's not a one-to-one comparison, esports or regular sports, but I think it's a pretty apt comparison here. And yeah, you wouldn't want that in traditional sports. Why is that okay in esports? I don't understand. I don't get it. I'm fired up about this. But I am glad that slowly more and more people seem to be coming on my side. Because I know I was called like a G2 fanboy a lot in the last video, but now this is Fnatic against Misfits, and I like G2 a little bit, but I'm in North America at the end of the day. I don't care who wins in EU. I like watching EU, but if Fnatic wins, G2 wins, Misfits wins, I don't really give a shit at the end of the day. I have no rooting interest that much. I want to see good teams because I want the West to do well, but if Fnatic's the best team, great. If G2's the best team, great. If Fnatic's the team pausing over and over and over again, on fake bugs, okay, come on. Yeah, then maybe I'm not going to be a Fnatic fan, but that doesn't make me a Misfits fanboy or G2 fanboy, whatever. Definitely drop a like if you guys did enjoy this video. I would appreciate it so much. Let me know what you guys think about the whole situation. Should you be allowed to pause in the middle of team fights? I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions. Subscribe, save data, and latest content. Hopefully catch you guys in the next one. But until then, peace.